Hello, it's Tim here at Primo Piano. You can't see me because I'm on the other side of the camera, but I can give you a little wave like that. And I've got my piano here so I can show you a few things. And I've also got the music to Spooky Ooky. Now, you're about to do your Level A badge. And as you probably know, that involves playing two things for your teachers, one of which is Spooky Ooky, and he or she will play along with you for that. And then you've also got a solo piece to play, which will be trudging or skating, and you've got a choice with that one. And then you'll also have a little variation of that where you make you change it around a bit and make it your own. But as well as those things, there's some important music, what we call musical knowledge, that you need to go with your badge, as it were. And there's two sides to that. One is the notes C, D, E, F and G. So I'll move my camera a little bit so we can see. So there's the middle C there. Now, those notes, hopefully you know what they look like written down. They should look like that. That's C, that's D, that's E, that's F, and that's G. And these are all written with what we call a treble clef, and they go on the music ladder above middle C. So if you're looking at those and you're thinking, I don't know what those notes are, don't worry. There is another video that goes with this one, which is all to do just with note learning. So you need to go and do that video as well. However, this video, we're going to deal with some other little important things that you need as well. So these music things are, so I'm going to start first of all with how long notes are. So we have notes of different lengths. So when you first started, we used to say a black note with a stick, which is called a crotchet, by the way. Here's some. There's loads of them in Spooky Ooky. These are all crotchets, by the way. Black notes with sticks. They're quite short notes, and we say that they have a value of 1. They're worth 1 count or 1 beat. So crotchets with sticks, black notes with sticks, they're 1s. Then a little bit later, we taught you that longer notes are often white with a stick. So if a note's got a stem on it and it's white, it's usually worth 2. Okay, so the black notes with sticks are worth 1, and the white notes with sticks are worth 2, so they're a little bit longer. And then we have, if we put a dot after the white note, it becomes longer again, and we've got that in skating. Here's skating, so hopefully you've learned skating at some point. So if you have a look there, can you see that we've got the white note with a stem and a dot worth 3? So don't worry, I'm going to go back over all of these in a second. And then if you look in trudging, we had, sorry, not trudging, I'm going to turn back even further to Mary Had a Little Lamb. In that one, we had a note that was just a circle, which is the longest note, and that one is worth 4. So let me show them to you on some cards here. So here is the crotchet. So that's the black note with the stick. Don't worry if I'm going to use the proper name, which is a crotchet, but don't worry if you forget that. The most important thing is that you know when you see a black note with a stick on it, that it has a value of 1. Here's the white note with the stem on it. It's called a minim. Don't worry if you forget the name of it at the moment, but the important thing is that you know when you see a white note with a stem that it has a value of 2. And then if you pop a dot on it, it makes it a bit longer again, and it's worth 3. And finally, the longest note of all, which we call, it's got a funny name, it's called a semi-breve. Don't worry if you forget the name semi-breve. The important thing is that you know that a note that's just a circle like that, which isn't filled in the middle and has no stem, that is worth 4. So they're your different types of notes. So there's the one worth 1, crotchet. Here's the one worth 2, it's a minim. Here's the one worth 3, it's a dotted minim. And here's one worth 4, the semi-breve. And let's just look for them. If you've got your music there, see if you can find it with me. So turn to Mary Had a Little Lamb on page 8. And you'll see in here, I'm looking for the semi-breve. That's the really long one. Can you see it there at the end? That's the one that's just a circle. Now, I know it's got a little line through it, but that's the line that makes it middle C, but it is still a circle, isn't it? And it's not filled in. Also, we've got lots of crotchets in here. Crotchets come up all the time. They're the black notes with sticks. They're all worth 1. And look, there's a minim. That's worth 2. That's the white note with the stem. And dotted minims, I have to find a piece that where we're counting in 3s, and skating is a good example. Here it is at the end of skating, or at the end of the first line as well. See the dotted minim, white note with a dot after it. So there is a little quiz that you can complete where you can get more practice of this. So by the time you've gone through the quiz, you'll be an expert on them. So this is a little bit more that we need. So next, let's talk about, we can play things quietly or we can play things loudly in the music. It's something that happens an awful lot. And in fact, you'll have been practicing doing that a lot with Spooky Yuki. Because in Spooky Yuki, the very, very first line is quiet. And we have a special sign. It's the letter P. I'll show it to you on a card as well. Here it is. And P stands for piano, which is actually an Italian word. And I bet you never thought you'd be learning to speak Italian as well as learning to play the piano. But we use Italian words for music because the Italians, they didn't invent music, but they invented the way we still write it down today. They came up with a whole system. So we still use quite a lot of Italian words. So P for piano. So that is quiet. And then the opposite of that, there's a lot of opposites in music, is the letter F, which stands for forte, and that means loud or strong. And we've got that in Spooky Yuki. So there we go. If you forget, remember the first line of Spooky Yuki is very quiet, and the second line of Spooky Yuki is loud, isn't it? There with that one. Oh, and also, can I just mention the repeats here? When you get double lines and double dots at the end of a section, you repeat that section. What else do we need? Two other things I'd like to mention. Sometimes we play very smoothly. So, for instance, in Spooky Yuki, we make the first bit very smooth. You can't hear any gaps between the notes, can you? It's just continuous sound, just smoothly going from one note to the other. Now, that technique, that way of playing, is called legato, and we have a special sign for it. And it's a curvy line that goes over or under the notes, and it depends which way the stems are going on the notes, but you don't need to worry too much about that. If you see a curvy line going over or under the notes, it means to play smoothly. So here it is in Spooky Yuki. There it is. The line's called a slur. But all we're worried about the school is that at the moment that when you see a curved line going under or over the notes, that you know that that is to play smoothly. So what would the opposite of playing smoothly be? Well, it'd be playing spikily. And in Spooky Yuki, we have a whole little section here where they're all spiky and that's spiky as well. So I'll show you what I mean. So these notes are G, F, E flat, D, C coming down. And instead of going, which would be legato, that would be smooth, we're actually going to go. So that is staccato. You may have noticed that there are some dots there. You see the dots under the note? So that's when we're playing staccato. I'll show it to you on a card. Sometimes the notes are that way round, with the stems going up. Sometimes you'll see notes that way round, with the stems going down, but the dot will then go above it. So that's everything for your badge. So let's see it again. Dots, that's staccato. Slurs, that's to play smoothly, legato. Then we've got different note lengths. Semi-breve, that's worth 4. Dotted minim, that's worth 3. Minim, that's worth 2. And a crotchet, that's worth 1. And of course we have our 5 notes as well, but remember, there's another video you can use if you need some more practice with that. And we have our loud and soft, so there we go. P for quiet, F for forte. So remember, if you just do the quiz includes quite a bit of practice for you. So if you've watched this video, you can always watch the video again if you're not sure. Maybe watch it another day. But once you think you can remember what's in the video you've just watched, it's time to do the quiz, okay? So I think that's everything. And and I know, and I almost forgot, what does this mean? This means there's a spider on my music. And in fact, there's the repeats as well. See the double lines and double dots there? So that's everything for your badge. So once you're ready, do the quiz, and then the mark will go back to your teacher, and you can play your pieces for your teacher, and you can get your badge, and everyone's going to be really happy. All the best now. Bye-bye.